Hey everybody, this is Rick and Jewell with the 4x4Tricks videocast.
Currently, Joey DiMartino is across the street and we are practicing social distancing because of the recent COVID-19 pandemic. So we are at our own home studio. We have a little setup and we're going to do episode 2.
Got it shut off, right?
Yep.
Sorry about that. We had a lot of good feedback from the first episode. Go, 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 go! Today, we're going to be talking about upgrades to Pinky, driving at Katimsi Rocks, and the learning curve. Good job, sweetie.
Just like that. So proud.
So, here we go. All right, so one of the major improvements that we made immediately was the steering. After the rollover in Baghdad, we had a bent hydraulic shaft, so we got a hold of Tom Allen at PSC, and he immediately jumped on board with us, which we were very happy about. And we put everything together. We got the reservoir as close to a perfect install as we could within Pinky so that Jewell could have the best steering possible.
Yep, and after PSC jumped in, the steering was better than it was ever before we broke it. So that was pretty cool.
We also did some extensions on the shifter linkages and put in cutting brakes. We had to replace the engine cage as soon as we got back because of the rollover in Baghdad. And that allowed us to correct some suspension and stuff like that. We also moved the fuel cell when we corrected the suspension, and that helped our center of gravity. And the engine cage actually came out really good to our advantage. It did stand like this, and then afterwards we ended up having a really low center of gravity and a really good stance. We also replaced a master cylinder at the time, but ended up chasing brakes for the rest of the season. And we also built some doors for better safety for Jewell in case that happened again. And after the event, JBA Off-Road picked up the door panel, and then we did some extra wiring. And here we go. We're at Katimsi Rocks. What'd you think of Katimsi Rocks?
It's so pretty there. The rocks are crazy different compared to choke cherry rocks. It's like super grippy. It's like sandpaper. When you're on an incline, you don't feel like you're slipping at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And we got to go out with some cool guys, right?
Yeah, Damon and Darwin. They were really nice guys.
And it looked like you had a really good time with them. We actually drove on Thursday and Friday so we could get there, and then you got to drive George's rig.
Yep. Got to just ride it in the dirt.
That was cool. What did you think of Mason, Texas?
Oh, I loved it. Such a cute little town. We had fun going into town, watching Pinky.
What in the world could make a girl make that kind of a look? Or that kind of a look?
Negative scores.
Yep. We did have some oops moments out there. We did have a loose fitting, so we were leaking on a trail, and so we got a penalty for that. We also I led you on the wrong course flow, right?
Yeah.
So
Broke course flow and got warned about that. Did it a second time. Got warned about that again and got disqualified on a course.
Turn this way.
Yeah, so learning curve for me for sure. And then we also had this happen. We had the steering wheel bolts broke out of the disconnect, and so we couldn't do anything. And that was an amazing situation to be in the middle of. But we had somebody that helped us out.
Yeah, we did. And we actually, I remember that course because we had a really good plan for it. And we had good ideas to get through it clean and probably get a perfect score. And then the steering just cut out.
So, as far as the learning curve, how do you feel about all this? Like right there, we were needing to go one way,
and I was going the opposite way. Yeah, looking back at these videos, it's hard to sort of watch because now I know, like, now I know more, know to listen to you.
Sure.
But, I mean, I guess it's good that looking at it, it's sort of embarrassing because that just means we're learning. So.
And I want you to burn around.
Yep. So, learning to dodge cones. What have you learned? Have you learned to look? Have you learned to...
Oh yeah, learn to double check each time. When you think that you're not about to hit the cone, and then you go a little bit farther and hit the cone, that's not a good feeling.
So double check with your spotter, and how about looking out the window at those cones?
Oh yeah, looking, like when you can't see them, I have to make sure that I'm not gonna hit it. Because I remember on some of the courses, I would just expect you to know where the cone was at, even though I could see it.
Right. And so one of the things that we're going to try to do in the future is put some mirrors on the cage so that you can actually see both sides of the vehicle for your rear tires for the cones. How about learning to use those extended shifters and the cutting brakes?
Oh, they helped so much. It was fun to learn about them. Although this was my first time using them in Baghdad and in Mason, Texas. We didn't get to practice beforehand, so we practiced and learned while we were competing.
Which is good. And then right there, obviously, this is something you were embarrassed about earlier because you knew it was there, and these days you wouldn't have done that, right?
No, I would not have done that. I turned right into that.
Looks good. Okay.
How about communication? How are we doing communication-wise at Mason, Texas?
Well, everyone was telling us that our communication was really good, and I knew right off the bat, well, you and me already communicated very well when we were out just in Choketree. But looking back at our communication now, even like at our last competition a few weeks ago, we're already way better at communicating. We're not yelling at each other. I don't think we yelled at each other once at the last competition. And even when we did yell at each other, it was little things. We weren't getting upset, really. So I think it was good all along, but we definitely have gotten better at it.
And we've gotten better at pulling in those negative scores, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all driver.
So in this competition, we were put in a different class than we normally would be in.
Yeah.
Obviously, this year in We Rock, we're in a completely different class.
How much time?
And you're hoping to move up, right?
Yeah, so hopefully soon we'll be building a new rig and moving up into hopefully Pro Mod.
We got to try and cut that as much over as we can.
We really like to look at Pro Mod, and of course, this was one of those steps. And this year they've come out with the Sportsman B, which really matches this vehicle, having a full frame, full body, and two-seater and all of that stuff. It's definitely a different world than all the rear steers and single-seaters out there. So we've done really well coming to the events and being competitive after we got everything down. So when we talk about upgrades, like as far as suspension, what did you learn this year, especially going to Kitimsey Rocks and leaving Kitimsey Rocks?
Looks good. Okay.
Like with your shocks and stuff like that.
Okay,
see if you
so
can come forward. Can you come forward?
like during
Oh,
Mason,
lock her
like
on,
right
lock her
before
on.
or right after
Come on.
Mason, I learned
Come on.
how to tune the shocks.
Keep
And
coming,
we
keep coming. You're gonna
realized
come right
that
up on
putting
this.
more shock oil in would help us
You're
out.
good.
So
Don't
I learned
turn.
how to tune them, and we added more shock oil and messed
coming
around with
just
some
like you are.
nitrogen. And we
Just like
actually,
you are. I'm gonna watch
I
this cone right here.
pretty sure we have like
You're
perfected
clear of
the
that zone.
shocks
Keep
on
pulling
Pinky.
forward.
The suspension is
pulling
great.
forward.
And you've worked on other people's rigs since
Yeah,
then, right?
yeah.
Floor for a
Like
minute. You're
our
gonna have
friend
to
Matt,
climb it.
I helped him out with his shocks right before
So just
competition.
real easy, real
And
slow.
we
And
we did
turn
Easter Jeep
passenger.
Safari later after Mason, Texas,
passenger.
and we had to
Keep coming.
retune our shocks there.
Keep
I think we
coming.
did it like twice there
Okay, hold
Sure.
on,
because
hold on.
we
Yep,
had
we
some
did.
suspension problems.
Front
But
only, so take out
so
the rear.
after around this time in Easter Jeep Safari, I have like learned
Hold
completely
that
how to
cutting
tune
brake,
shocks,
too,
so
and
that's
you're
pretty
gonna turn
cool.
all the way this way.
Yeah.
So
And you
come
can
on.
see right there, you're using the
Burn,
shifters and everything, and ooh, you almost
Yeah.
got
Take
that
it back,
cone
take
right
it back.
there.
That
That was close. It was really good though, the way that you backed up,
Push it,
because
push
if
it.
you had just turned, you would have hit
stop.
that cone,
Okay,
but
come
you
on.
actually kind of inched back and
See this cone right
then
here?
made the turn,
Come
which
on.
was good.
Come on,
So
straighten out, straighten
that's
out.
something that both of us can watch
Nope,
out
now
for,
you turn left.
obviously,
I-
is
There you go.
know,
Yeah.
where the cone is, where the tire
job.
is, and stuff
You
like
killed
that.
it. How about that?
You know,
How about a high five for catching all
you
the
definitely
bonuses? I
looked
think we
really
only
good
got
out
2
there.
races,
We
right?
had a lot of good
Yeah.
times. We had a lot of
That's your
people
best score yet.
that we got to meet. We even got to meet some teams from Mexico, which
Minus
Yeah.
30.
was really cool. And
They were awesome. They were so nice.
yeah, and it's been so cool spending time with them. There's a picture with one of the wives from the team, and then of course you had some fans show up.
Yeah, that was awesome. She
And you
got
let
to
'em-
sit in Pinky.
Yeah, you let them sit in the car and stuff, which is normal. Like,
Yeah.
you typically don't mind anybody sitting in the car and
No,
everything,
I
which is
don't
awesome.
mind at all.
And then we have other competitors that you got to get some pictures with.
Yes.
Good
all
times.
the girls.
So how did you feel going up on the podium?
Oh, I was so scared. That is not something I have ever gotten used to. I don't know if I will get used to it. We want to hit podium each time, but I know my only nerves will be on, like, going up on the podium and talking.
So I've never really done this before, but I wanted to start off by saying thank you to Matt Beverly.
I don't think I've seen this before
over
either.
here, but helped us fix up our steering. The steering problem we had.
I think I blacked out seeing everything.
He got it to where we didn't have to take any breakdown time for course 3. I just wanted to give a big
Glad
thank
you
you
put
to him.
pictures over it.
And then I wanted to say thank you to Rich and Shelly for putting this all together and being a bunch. And then I'd also like to
No,
say
but it was
thank you
awesome
to all the volunteers
be
and all
able
the
to
competitors.
Go on
You
the
make it
podium.
an experience and you
And
make
when
it
Shelly and
where
Rich put us
you
into
can't
that
do it.
separate class, it
And
was awesome to
then
be
I would
able
like to say
to
thank you to all our
podium and
sponsors.
get second
We
place and
have
go home
Gen
with
Core
the trophy. It
Design,
was super cool.
Oxygen, Summit Machine, Super Chips, Tripworks, Air Graphics, PC,
Well, you did really good up
PSC,
there.
Gutter
Everybody was
Sports,
impressed.
Yukon and Axle,
And I just can't wait for future events because I'm pretty sure you'll be able to.
and then we have Northwest Instrumental.
Well, that's it for this video cast, 4x4Tricks video cast. You can see Jewell was very cold when we went home. We actually hit a snowstorm, and I'm sure we'll hit a few more in our travels. So we're looking to see you guys at the next video cast. Thanks for playing.